And we are live. What's up, everybody? And welcome to the 7th episode of the Awesomely Average Show. I am, of course, your average host, Aaron Sini. And with me tonight is a super awesome guest. You might know him from FXX You're the Worst. You might have seen him get really drunk and teach you about history or science or anything else. Or you might know him from Funny or Die. It is my pleasure to announce my guest tonight, Allan McLeod, whose last name I literally just learned to pronounce. Allan, how the hell are you, man?
I'm well, Aaron Sini.
Whose name you also just learned to pronounce. It's always good to do this like pre-show stuff and like make sure you don't fuck up people's names, because there's literally nothing more embarrassing when you do like podcasts or shows and you say your guest name wrong.
I'm sure there's something more. There's got to be something more embarrassing than that.
That's true. There's got to be several more things
so
now that I think about it. Well, that actually makes me feel better if I ever fuck somebody's name up on this show. I'll just be like, you know, I remember that time that Allan told me there's so many things that are worse than this. Oh, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. I'm excited to have you.
Happy to be here.
As I was saying before the show, I've been a big fan for a really long time. Been watching you since you were on Funny or Die. Watching you on Drunk History, and then You're the Worst. And I was telling you that, it came to a panel at Sundance that we'll talk about a little bit later. So thanks so much for even responding to a random tweet of me being like, hey, you don't know me, you want to come on a show? And you're just like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Love it.
It wasn't a long drive, and
makes it easier.
Yeah.
So yeah. In a post-pandemic world, this conversation is a lot easier to have because that's exactly it. I don't have to ask you to like fly out and do anything. I'm just like, hey, you got a camera you can get on with me for an hour? Love it.
Totally.
Awesome, man. Well, viewers of the show know this is a pretty straightforward interview type podcast and show. I just get to talk to you about how you got started in your career, where you're going with it, what you're doing currently, and all that fun stuff. If I ask anything that I shouldn't be asking about, just tell me to shut up and move on. And that's how we do it. Yep, exactly. Okay. Just nope. And then we just go. So people who have listened to the last 6 episodes know that I try to make each segment I come up with like a bad dad joke or a pun or anything that's within their career. So I went with screenwriting instead of acting in this one. So first draft, let's talk about how it all started. So I wanted to know, how did all of this actually start? Did you always want to be a writer and actor? Like, what made you decide to go after this vocation?
I really thought that I was more of a writer when I decided to leave Alabama and come to LA. I thought maybe because I'd been dabbling in comedy in college and stuff, and I'd been told I was a funny writer, so I was like, well, that seems good enough for me. And then and then it just so happened that when I was getting into comedy stuff, I was the only one around to perform the stuff that I wrote. So I was just writing stuff for myself and friends who I would meet and would perform with me, and so it just, the writing, I continue to write, but I just it's hard to just find someone to just do your stuff for you if you don't, if you're not seasoned or you're not well known or anything, or have any notoriety in the community. So yeah, I was just kind of self-generating sketch comedy, and started doing Upright Citizens Brigade theater opened up in Hollywood, and I'd lived down the street from there at the time, and it was literally like I just recognized the sign go up, and I was like, oh, I know that, I recognize that. I love, I watched the show in college, and started taking improv classes and sketch writing classes, and then I was in the midst of that. I was trying to do I'd been on set a little bit because I was doing background casting, and I wasn't casting it. I was a background actor.
Yeah.
And so I was able to just observe the set and, watch it. And, my big background claim to fame is that, I'm in The Aviator a little
Oh,
bit. And
nice.
so I was just like blown away. I was like, this is amazing. And you have no responsibility. So you can just sit there and watch everything, and watch everybody do their jobs and, just observe as like a fly on the wall, like just how the hierarchy works. And it was really beneficial just in that way. And then as I started doing more production work, PA stuff and all that kind of stuff, getting into comedy more, one thing led to another. And I got a commercial agent and just this I've never been as lucky as like right when I got the commercial agent, I booked like the first thing I went out for.
Sure.
Just because no one had ever seen my face before, I think. And it's like a new face. So let's book him. And then, I thought it was going to be easy after that, but it's just it continues to be a struggle,
Yeah.
you just keep on doing it. And but yeah, I did that. And then it certainly, was by no means easy street after that, but it was like, oh, okay, I can actually make some choices now. And
Yeah.
I can take more classes and I can do more shows and perform and collaborate and meet more people. And, those connections are what lead you to other jobs down the line. And,
Yeah.
so really it's my career is intertwined with just my wanting to be a writer and then needing to perform my own writing and then seeing that, hey, maybe I can act too. Like maybe this is like a thing, I'd only done a little
Totally.
bit, I'd done some in college, but it was just like, it seemed like, hey, this could be a realistic goal to have is to, do more acting.
That's awesome. That was actually a really great segue. You set me up perfectly for my next question. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
You
Yeah,
were
you
talking
sent me the
about like,
questions earlier, so I'm just
just keep lobbing up
picking
those
one to
softballs
the
for
other.
me. You just talked a little bit about like you had a couple roles, but that wasn't it. Like you had to keep fighting and keep working towards it. Did you ever have a moment where you felt like you got the break, as we always hear about? Like I got my big break. I broke into the industry. Did you ever have your moment where you're like, oh shit, like I think I'm actually like kind of in?
Um, no, I feel like I
No?
don't. I feel like anytime I think I may have had some moment like that, I think that a year goes by, I'm like, what happened? I thought that moment was maybe the moment.
Yeah, yeah. For
I
sure.
mean, to me, You're the Worst is like the coolest job I've ever had. It was like it was a long, it was 5 seasons is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And I just every season I was expecting for my character to get hit by a bus or something and just get immediately, killed off or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
just like
Not
the butt of
survive
every
the
joke.
stabbings.
Yeah. So and it came really close. Yeah, I got stabbed and but it so in a way I feel like that's the biggest thing that my big claim to fame, but it's I was still, even though I was in a lot of it, I still feel pretty like low on the totem pole. So, until like I don't know what it'll be, and I'm not sure that it's I don't know. It's hard to mark what the big break is, like or
Sure.
what, unless somebody's just like labels you the breakout star or whatever of something. I don't feel like I've had that moment yet. I'm not anticipating it anytime soon. I have always, first of all, I just kind of always thought, well, I'll sort of age into a good career. Like I want that
Yeah.
Richard Jenkins kind of like,
There
Morgan
you go.
Freeman kind of, maybe I'm rationalizing or something, a later in life, thing, but I'm just like, I feel like that's going to be me. Like I'll be the old, like the old standby, but, character actor, like,
Yeah.
those are the, people that I really admire the careers of. They just kind of popped in to a lot of stuff, had cool roles here and there, but you just don't really know their name,
Right.
till they become, like Morgan Freeman or,
Right.
but I don't know. So yeah, I don't feel like it's necessarily happened to me yet. I do think that as far as just acting wise, like You're the Worst is the coolest thing, and has opened a lot of doors, certainly. And when I'm in casting sessions, that's the thing that gets brought up, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
And but I wouldn't I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, maybe that qualifies as a big break. Maybe I'm still too inside it to really, recognize it. But yeah, I still feel like I'm kind of clawing my way up, and perhaps it's just because, you know, this is inside baseball a little bit, but we are in the midst of pilot season and stuff,
Yeah.
and so that's what I'm, currently focused on a lot, is
Sure.
just trying to cram lines in my brain that, to put myself on tape for something. It's like it's just kind of constantly auditioning for stuff, and then never hearing about it. So that'll make you humble real quick,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And so I don't take anything for granted. I don't think I don't think if anything, just that first job was my big break. Just
Sure.
just knowing, like, whoa, okay, because, or even going back, like, it was an exciting moment to walk into the SAG office and get, and pay for my membership, and that
Right.
came from being a background actor on The Aviator. So
That's
I thought
okay.
that was huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so anyway, it's I don't know what I don't know that you ever have one, because the moment you think that, then I feel like your guard goes down a little bit, and
Sure.
maybe you start potentially taking things for granted. And I feel very fortunate, any script that gets sent to me, that I get the opportunity to put myself up for it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Um, on the flip side of that, have you had any moments where you were just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm ready to pack it up and just go back to Mobile.
Oh yeah, like the pandemic, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
was a moment for me and a lot of my friends. I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
people, if it's not necessarily like packing it up, because it's not like I can't take over my dad's business or anything.
Right.
It's like there's part of me that would be like, hey, that sounds pretty good right now. I don't have that luxury necessarily of to fall back on. However, I've always thought that I would, or have always wanted to, you know, end up, I don't know, just, I would like to be a little more bi-coastal, a little more like bi-coastal in the southern coast, anyway, the Gulf
Yeah.
Coast. uh, but I thought, I've always thought that I would move back to the South, if it's not
Yeah.
Alabama. Like, I love New Orleans. I love Atlanta, and in the time that I've been in Los Angeles, those the industry in those areas has really, grown, and
Oh
so it's
yeah.
it's not unthinkable to me. And I was just talking to a friend about this earlier, that I seem to find myself on Zillow looking at houses in
Yeah.
Atlanta and
Yeah.
stuff all the time. And just because it's fun to just kind of imagine that, when realize, well, it's been a year and I haven't hung out with any of my friends in
Yeah.
person in forever, other than Zoom. It's like, what the hell difference does it make anymore? I don't know.
Honestly, yeah.
So it's exciting to think about, doing that one day. Like, I've worked in Atlanta, I mean, it's like, I feel like that's a totally legit thing to do. So yeah, as far as like I don't know what I would do other than necessarily what I'm doing. So it would if I've definitely considered a relocation, and it's
Okay.
a fun idea. I hate to leave LA. I love LA, and
Yeah.
I think this is really where I have the most opportunities.
Sure.
But you know, you other things start kind of coming into focus, you know, as you're at it for a while and your folks get older, if they're still around at all, and you're like, ah, gosh, you know, and I got a 3-year-old, almost 4, you know, it'd be fun to be a little closer to the grandparents and all that
For
sort of
sure.
stuff, you know, you start thinking about. So, you know, it's all, nothing's off the table,
Yeah.
but I'm here for the foreseeable future. I'm a West Coast boy.
Nice.
But you know, the bags are packed. The moment the earth shakes beyond point 0.7 or whatever,
Sure.
I don't know, on the Richter scale.
I was telling you before the show, like that was a huge aspiration of mine. So we lived in LA for a while, and the first
Oh,
earthquake we went through, not a fan. Being from Colorado and like never having gone through that, yeah,
yeah.
that was enough for me.
It's scary. Yeah. I remember my first earthquake here, and I was in a production office. I was a PA on a show, and I was just upstairs in the studio, and the office just started
Oh,
literally rolling like a wave. And it
yeah,
was the most insane thing I've ever seen. And now it doesn't feel like that much of a big deal, but you know, I'm a low key prepper. You know,
yeah,
I'm just like
just ready, just in case,
I'm
you
just
know.
ready. I got the butane stove
Yep.
ready to go. You know, just like got I don't know. I feel like my head's just kind of constantly on a swivel, just because like I just don't know what I'm doing year to year. It's like
Yeah.
I've never had like a regular job, you know, in 20 years. So it's just like I don't know where I'm going. I could be anywhere, and this is just how I roll, I guess.
At any second, I could land back in Atlanta, and I just
Yeah,
be like, all right, here I
yeah.
am.
Horrible plan. It's a horrible plan. It's not a good plan.
Oh man, you're good.
So
I
wait,
did
where are you in Denver?
just an hour north of Denver. I'm
Oh,
in,
okay.
yep, Fort Collins, northern Colorado, right at the base of the mountains.
Nice.
Honestly, everything you were talking about is what brought us back. My son will be 10 in August, but
Oh,
he had
wow.
just finished kindergarten, and you know, all of our families out here, me and my wife's family, and it was just like, what are we doing? Like, let's go back home. LA wasn't super for us either, and we missed Colorado, and I can
Oh,
do a lot
totally.
of fun, creative things here still, and yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Well, I think that's the nice thing about, I mean, it's like I don't know why New York and LA became the hubs of
just the
entertainment.
thing.
It's just kind of the way it went. And now, I mean, I think that, you know, people are kind of bucking that trend, and I think that's awesome. I think it
Yeah,
should be, you know, a little bit more spread out. So, you know, I don't know. I'm going where the wind takes me, but it's I'm not in a position where like I'm in the headspace to change careers or anything anytime
sure.
soon. But you know, over the pandemic, like you know, it was all we could do. You know, we even had a wildfire that we had to like just leave. We couldn't walk outside to breathe.
Yeah.
Again, I know it sounds horrible. I really do love LA. I really do. Um,
You
but
don't, you
you
get
know,
past the wildfires and the earthquakes and the
look,
traffic, and
look,
it's really bad.
everywhere's got their problems. Okay. But yeah, you know, when you can't breathe, you're like, oh golly, I mean, is there a place that's I can breathe for a little while? But you know, just taking some road trips over this thing, some safe
Yeah,
road trips, you know,
sure.
was just great. It was fun, and it makes you want to, you know, just get rid of everything and become Jack Kerouac or something. You know, it's like
Right.
just let me just a Rolling Stone. I don't want to get locked down anywhere, because what if I, you know, what if we do, like, you know, get too cozy, and then who knows what's going to happen? I don't know.
That's
This is
when
a terrible
California falls
philosophy.
off, like we heard
This
about
is
when we
a
were
terrible
kids.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that's where we're at. It's
Nice.
a pandemic. You start thinking
Right.
about crap like this.
Oh, I know. It's been a weird world of like deciding what the future looks like, and all the rules are out the window. So it's just like, fuck it. Let's do something totally different.
Yeah.
Um, we were just talking about moving out to California. Right before that was when I came out to Sundance in 2016, and you were on a panel because you had just written Interrogation with Paul Scheer and Rob Hubble, right? That's who else was in it.
Yeah. Hubel.
Hubel. I'm bad at last
Ooh,
names. Not good at
you're
it. He's
canceled.
not my guest though, so
Canceled.
it's not embarrassing.
That's true. That's true.
So I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about what it's like writing for VR, and is there a different approach to that project? Like, what does that look like? The sketch was hilarious, and that was my first time really like experiencing VR. And when Paul Scheer like blew smoke at my face, like I was flailing about, and it kind of tripped me out. But was there like a different creative process around writing for that type of a platform? Because that's the first I had heard of somebody writing for that space.
Yeah, I was super excited. I jumped at the chance when they were like, "We want to write a VR thing," and my boss was like, you get you're I'm just was a staff writer director there, and you just would kind of get they'd throw assignments out, and that was one that I was like, I'd love to do something with VR. Like I'm really, really enjoyed the little, some of the games I've played on that. I think there's a lot of opportunities there. And so I remember my boss Owen at the time, he was like, let's do like a good cop, bad cop type of genre,
Yeah.
so then just kind of we just wrote a script, and then um uh the difference was or I guess the parameters were, the point of view is going to be in one position, just because there's different types of VR, and I'm not like necessarily, I don't couldn't give you all the different types necessarily, but in this particular situation, it was sort of a locked off camera that had like a 360-degree view. So, we knew there was just going to be like people performing around a camera. And so just like, let's blue sky, like anything that would be kind of fun to see in an interrogation room, what can be going on behind the viewer, so that if they like turn around, can there even be just like some in the production design, like even like people, the folks that just produced it were able to like put all kinds of little things on the wall, or blood or gross stains on it, or just like weird messages. And like, when we were blocking it, it was kind of like, let's try to like make it interesting by being on either side of the viewer. And so there's a lot that there was the backbone of it was in the script, but it wasn't a great script. I mean, it wasn't like I feel like I even remember Paul Scheer going like, "There's no jokes in here." I thought there were. I think there are. I don't know. So he and Rob, also just kind of like worked it, and I mean, they had to do like a 7 or 8 minute scene without cutting, really. I think there's one time I believe we worked a cut in where they put a bag over the viewer's head or something at some point, or cover the eyes, but that was just so they could like have a moment to
just to breathe for a second,
have a break. Because they just got to walk in and like just be like picking up cues and doing everything, so that it's interesting the whole time. And I remember they were really excited to do that genre too, so it was really fun to just kind of to just collaborate with them. And then no one was, I mean, and most writers understand that you can't be too married to anything that you've written, like, so because you're just pretty much the lowest on the totem pole. So it's just like, if you just are there to kind of pitch and, be like, enthusiastic and
Yeah, yeah.
helpful, then you can, participate. So, and so, yeah, I just remember that being like the parameters being, we want just interesting things happening.
Yeah.
We want some weirdos walking by outside the door. We were just trying to kind of anticipate, like, that all sounds like production design and stuff and directing. And it is. But there were just like a lot of things we were like, okay, blowing smoke in the face would be pretty cool. Pointing a gun or like throwing
Hmm.
something at you, anything to kind of like mess with that perspective um, was the goal. So we just kind of
Nice.
wrote to that.
Sweet. Yeah, I was with a group of friends and we ended up going back through the tent like after we watched it initially before we came to your panel. We ended up going back through two more times. Because of all the different things you would catch by looking around and seeing the goofy shit people were writing on the wall. And like, so I thought it was super interesting and just such a cool way to approach it. And even though that was kind of my first, like, I guess, foray into VR, it was one that made me like an instant believer of this technology to be like, oh, cool. This is so much more than video games. Like we can do wild shit with this if we want to. So it was really
Totally.
cool that you
It
get
was
to be a
our
part of
first
that.
foray. It was Funny or Die's first foray, and it was nice to be a part of it. I got real. There was a moment where we thought we're going to just like do a bunch of these things, and it never happened.
Yeah.
But I had a whole backlog of stuff. I was like, oh, now I get it. Like now I see
Now
how
we,
to do it. And it was like,
yeah.
and so I was ready, and I still want to like, mess around in that space again, but yeah, that was really fun to go there for that.
That's awesome. And now I want to talk to you about getting drunk for money. How did you end up landing on Drunk History and like how did that all come about?
Um, it's not too wild of a story. I mean, I was just
Okay.
performing, doing comedy, and I knew Derek Waters a little bit from just doing from the comedy scene. And I remember I was just backstage. I think I was at like a rehearsal for my sketch group or something, and Derek just called me, just asking it, like, hey man, we're doing a Christmas video for Drunk History, and just wondering if you might be able to do this. And I was like, at that point, Drunk History was huge, but it was just Funny or Die videos or
Right.
whatever YouTube videos that Derek and his friends were making. Um, and I remember I knew Jeremy Connor a little bit, the other director, just because he would like play music, and he played the saw, like he played the saw.
Oh,
But anyway,
sure. Yeah.
I don't know how much he does that anymore. But yeah, Derek was just like, hey, we think you'd be funny to do this. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. The interesting thing about that was that it was multiple narrators initially doing the thing, but that night I think we were at the Beverly Hilton. We'd all been picked up and brought out there. There were maybe five or a handful of dudes that were supposed to narrate "Twas the Night Before Christmas," and we just everybody was just so so terribly wasted that because this was like before the show. Once they started the show, they actually, they had medics on set, and
Yeah, yeah.
they had a more of a I don't know, the healthiest way you can possibly get extremely drunk,
Sure.
the safest way you could do it. That was what they were doing. But at the time of the video, it was a little bit, looser. And,
Yeah.
you just get a text like in the after 2 in the afternoon, like, all right, you can go ahead and start drinking. And then it's like 9 before I even sit down in front of a camera. Because that's how it worked out. It wasn't like they were like, let's make Allan drink all day and do it, but that's just kind of how it worked out. And I think I just am the reason why I managed to like be the only person in that is because I made it the furthest.
Oh, fair. That was actually my first introduction to you was the night before Christmas on Drunk History. That was the very first time I had seen you in anything.
Yeah, no, I think that's like, I mean, I think that's true for many people, and that's still the only thing that I still get, kind of, I don't know, shout outs for that.
Sure.
specific thing, and it's great. It's wonderful. It comes around every year, and
Yeah.
people tell me that they've made it a part of their Christmas tradition to watch
We do in
that,
our
and
house. Yep.
it's
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 absolutely
that's
tradition.
yeah, it's such a nice thing, it's um and they've always been wonderful to me. The folks at Drunk History, they always were. I mean, they didn't have to do it, but they would invite me out to the shoot so I could see. I met Gosling, I met Jim
Oh,
Carrey,
that's awesome.
um, and Eva Mendes, and it was funnily enough, actually, Eva Mendes was taking UCB classes at that time, so I
Oh, really?
interacted with her a little bit. But anyway, it's beside the point. It was really fun to watch them shoot it, and I subsequently, when the show started, I got to do one pretty much every season, and
Yeah.
go to the set and watch them shoot it, which is bizarre. Which is bizarre. It's just they shoot it like a music video.
So
I
you're hearing your
remember.
drunk words, right?
Yeah, I remember walking to the set the first time, and I'm like parking my car out on the street, and I could hear myself on a loudspeaker at the house that they were shooting at. And I'm walking in, and there's Ryan Gosling, doing me, and um
And that wasn't
yeah,
your "I've made it" moment? You walk in and Ryan Gosling's just, like, lip syncing the shit you said while drunk. That would have been my moment where I'm like, "Oh, I've made it for sure."
yeah, no, it was definitely surreal and incredible, and like I had just seen Drive twice at the theater, and I
Nice.
was obsessed with Drive, so I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so that's always surreal, but again, I just I don't know when I'll ever be able to say I've made it. It's such a fickle monster, I
I
just
think if you never worked again, having Ryan Gosling lip sync words you've said, that's it. Nobody
yeah.
else is gonna get that.
Yeah, he's the coolest. He's the coolest.
Yeah.
When I got there, they were just about to shoot this, like I think the very first scene when he and Eva Mendes are laying in bed or something. And he was like, "Hey, yeah, can I borrow your glasses?" Because I was wearing these glasses, and he put
Yeah.
on my glasses for that. So he wakes up. Not that anybody cares about this shit, but anyway, he
I care.
wakes up with glasses. He's in bed wearing glasses. He's wearing my glasses. I was like, "Oh man, my glasses made it into the video. This is so
Oh,
cool."
man, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I ruled. It was so fun. It was such a cool experience.
Sweet.
They've been great. Derek and Jeremy have always been really cool, and that's always been another little calling card for me. Just
Yeah.
like those episodes. That's those things. I mean, history teachers show them in classes. So
Right.
if they're cool history teachers.
Yeah, if they're lame, they show normal history videos.
Yeah, sober history.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Before I go on to the next part, which is present, just kind of like current things you're working on and stuff like that. Chat, he does have a time crunch, so I only have him for about 10 to 15-ish more minutes.
See.
If you have questions, hit those comments. I want to give you more time than I normally do in an episode. So if you have questions, I see you being all shy out there. All right. Revisions, the current state of things.
They're just so paralyzed with excitement that they can't.
They were like, "Oh my God, those glasses!
Yeah.
They've touched
The
Ryan Gosling's face."
Yeah. Oh, not these. Those glasses.
No.
I'm trying to get them in the Smithsonian right now.
No, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, if you guys have questions for Allan on anything, screenwriting, acting, whatever, get them in the comments while we go through the rest of this stuff. But yeah, I do want to talk just a little bit about your time on You're the Worst, and like, how did you getting the role of Paul kind of come about? Was it just your generic, you got the call, did the audition, or did you have like some happenstance circumstance that landed you that part?
Yeah, let's see. Ooh, did you hear that?
I did. Was that an earthquake?
That was like no, I think that might have been a firework.
Oh, that's how the
Either
next
that or a
wildfire
car
starts.
just backfired. Yeah, there's a very fireworks are popular in this neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, You're the Worst. Oh yeah, so I was yeah, I just let's see, my so my friend, this is, I didn't know this at the time. This is now I know this, what happened. But it's just one of those little things where your friend like is like, my friend Eva Anderson, who's an amazing writer, comedy writer, drama writer. We do all kinds of immersive theater experiences. I was in her play that she wrote last year. And she had gotten hired on that show after they shot the pilot. And she mentioned me to the casting director. She didn't mention me to Stephen Falk, the creator, but she mentioned me to the casting director, I believe. And I think just because she didn't want to feel like she's like trying to like be too pushy or anything with getting her friends in there or something. But anyway, so she was kind enough to mention me to the casting director. And so yeah, I just went in, I did one audition, and then it's crazy. I just did one audition. I never tested. I never, had to do a callback. That never happens. It's usually like there's a lot of stressful stuff that you have to go through to get on a TV show. This is the one time where it was like, I went in, I did it, and boom, I was on the show. They had to reshoot a chunk of the pilot. So I got added in. I'm not speaking in the pilot, but I got added into a couple shots. And it was incredible. So it was totally a thing. Again, it was just like Eva is one of my oldest friends in LA, and we've been, collaborators for a long time, same sketch group together for a long time. So yeah, it was totally like a thing where she, put my name in a hat, and I got super duper lucky because there were I remember walking down the hallway to go into the audition and going like, oh, there's this guy, like all these heavy hitters, and I tend to like look and get in my head when I'm like, why am I even here? Like, this is pointless, because this guy's going to get it for sure. But it just kind of worked out,
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
And then Paul seemed to like steamroll and get more and more popular as you went, and you just seemed to have like more to do, and they did more with your character. And who doesn't want to become a male activist in a show?
Right. Yeah. I've become the men's rights guy. That's like it's fun to kind of see what's I don't know what's going on in the news, and then try to pull inspiration from that. That was like a crazy turn, but it totally made sense. It was so fun to play. But I like I said, like I really, again, maybe it's just like I can't get excited about anything, but I was just like, well, this will be over after like I'll get like 2-3 episodes, because it's clear that Heather's character Lindsay hates me
right
from the beginning. So I was just like, oh, like there's no way I'm gonna last on this show.
Oh, man.
So I was just always prepared to hear that I was getting, whatever, not coming back or something like that. Yeah. It's a terrible attitude to have, but
but it was your attitude.
But it's mine.
Exactly. Oh man.
So yeah, no, it's not an exciting story, but it is one of those kind of like things that it's like, well, it can't happen, It's
nice. Sweet. Well, now I kind of want to move into the future of what things are doing. I want to talk to you a little bit about streaming. What made you decide to jump into Twitch and start streaming games? You're doing Frozen or Horizon Zero Dawn right now.
Horizon Zero Dawn. I have, I don't know why I'm stammering. I was kind of like, I just get excited about video games.
Yeah.
I had been kind of like, I was aware of Twitch and watching games and, watching gameplay, and I was like, this is fun. But I just had been meaning to try to set up my own channel for a long time,
Sure.
but just an incredibly lazy man. I just am like, it just takes a lot of effort for me to do like a little bit of technical work. It was just like, it kind of just kept getting pushed to the back burner until I was like, you know what? I have no excuse not to just like set something up here. I can
Yeah.
play it right through my PS4. I can pipe it right through this thing. There's no reason for me to not do this. This is
Nice.
stupid. I'm just going to play this game that I've been wanting to play. And it's been really fun. I mean, that was the I have no like end goal in sight. Like I
Sure.
wish I need to think about that stuff. Like I need to put in make a plan or something, but it's like right now I'm really just enjoying playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
And then people will and folks are helping me out. They're like telling me what to do, like when I'm like they're giving me tips, and it's been great. And it's nice
Like
to
having
talk.
a guide right there.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
constantly.
it's like I'm so often I'm just playing by myself. Like my
Sure.
wife doesn't want to watch me play a video game.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's that's like kind of the thing. Like I don't know. It's nice to just have like people to sort of to play a game with and share that with, and like so you can be excited with people. And so I don't know. So I sort of get it, and I'm trying to just like, I guess, what lies ahead for Twitch. Horizon Zero Dawn 2,
Nice.
baby.
Let's go. Love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I might try to do like I don't know what. I'd like to I definitely, maybe some 2-player with some friends. I'm trying to get Eva to play something with me sometime. I don't know. I want to be better at it. But I'm a little bit consumed with some other stuff at the moment, but it's definitely a thing I would like to continue doing. And it also helps me regulate my own game playing.
Sure.
So I'm like, oh, what's the point of playing this by myself when I can jump on Twitch or something?
Right.
Do it right. And like really plan it out, set it up,
Nice. That's awesome.
So yeah. What made you start up doing it?
Doing the Twitch streaming? Honestly, the same thing. It was just like, I'm in the pandemic. I needed a creative outlet. I needed to do something more. And I was like, I don't have a good excuse to not do this. I also play a lot of games on Stadia, and they make it even easier. Like it just goes from one monitor over here. I don't even have to plug anything in. It's pathetic not to do it. And then from there, it started with starting to do more podcasts. And then I kind of came up with this show that I'd been mulling around for an entire year. And much like you, I am really lazy. And I finally, like this year, is like, you know what? No, I'm going to do it. I've wanted to start this awesomely average thing forever. The name started with me streaming games. I am so average at video games. I'm not good at all. And now the show is more about like talking to awesome people and being average here too. So yeah, I'm a lot like you. It was just like people jumping in and talking and chatting with me. And I was like, oh, this is way more fun than just sitting on my couch playing video games by myself. I love this.
These are my real friends.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. The last thing I want to talk about with your future was I watched Exterminator, the new short film. Well, I guess it's not new anymore. It's about a year old. I loved that. It had kind of a dark twist to it, a little bit of a dark comedy. So if you could dabble in any other genre other than comedy, what would you want to jump into?
Oh, my dream is to be on like an hour-long procedural, like a
Law and Order type
detective
stuff.
show. Oh yeah, like like an NCIS or something like that. I mean that's I would love that. I mean, so some kind of I've done a little bit of dramatic work. I mean, You're the Worst had some stuff, but it's I don't know. I love genre stuff. I'd love to be like, I love sci-fi stuff. I mean, that would be amazing to be, I don't know, the fat astronaut or something like that. And, I could do that. So I don't know, that's so um, yeah, there's just other genres like that I'm interested in trying to get into, and I've had fortunately more opportunities, to take a crack at that, and so I'll keep trying, I'll keep plugging away, I'll let you know when if it
Nice.
happens. But
I'll keep watching.
but yeah, no, I mean, a very I it would be so cool to get into some kind of genre, detective genre thing. I love the show. Like, I love the show Bosch. Like, I'm just like, I think this happens when you become a dad too. Maybe there's
Yeah.
immediately Bosch shows up on your Amazon Prime account or something. But I don't know. I never have done that before. It's never been like a thing, like it's a
Sure.
recent thing. And I'm just like, this is awesome. I love this. We can
Nice.
watch an old NCIS episode, but this rules. I love this.
Love it.
Yeah, so it's kind of a new thing to me, like that I wasn't interested in before, but now I'm like really hyper focused on trying
I
trying
love
to
it.
get any opportunities I can in that field.
That's awesome. I know you said you needed to get out of
I
here.
got a few more minutes. I
Do you?
got a few more
Okay.
minutes.
Well, then let's do this. I'm going to jump into what we call rapid fire. These questions are
Ooh.
meant to just be popping as quick as you can answer. And then we
Uh-oh.
have so far one
I don't know
listener
if you know
comment.
me, but quick is not my forte.
It's not your
I'll
forte.
try.
All right. And then so far we have one listener question in the comments for you. If
Oh,
anybody
okay.
else wants to throw it in there, throw it in there. Let's go. So rapid fire, PC or console?
Oh, console.
Yeah, I kind of knew that one, the PS4 thing.
I
Whiskey or
don't know how these
vodka?
people are building these dang PCs.
Oh,
That's
too
I
much.
mean, that looks amazing. Maybe I'll get into that one of these days. I don't know. Yeah.
They look pretty, but too much work.
Yeah.
Whiskey or vodka?
Whiskey, baby.
Multiplayer or single player?
I do love a multiplayer.
Yeah.
Love a multiplayer. It's just single player because, like I said, I don't have any friends that'll play with me. So it's like, yeah, but I love a multiplayer.
All right. Love it. Star Wars or Star Trek?
I'm gonna have to say Star Wars. Star Wars.
That is the
But
right
I
answer.
appreciate Trek.
All right. Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Wrong answer, but that's okay. Are Rat Kings real?
I would have to believe they are. There's some, I mean, there's got to be, just a nasty little rat pits down there in the sewers that,
Their tails get all
where
tangled up.
they get all tangled up. I mean, I assume they can see in the dark, but
Ugh,
they're probably bumping into each other and getting all tangled up. Yeah, I can see that.
terrifying. And then best hangover cure.
Oh, you know what? I actually do recall. There's actually, I mean, I'll give you a literal. Well, wait, two.
Okay.
Wait, what's the stuff that you get? That you give kids? What's this? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, a Pedialyte.
Pedialyte.
Yes,
Okay.
Pedialyte is huge.
That'll do you. You give it to kids when they're very hungover, and then and there's another. Now I don't know if this company still exists. I don't know how anybody can find out, but I'm sure you can. But there was a company that I remember Drunk History always ordered boxes of hangover cure from, called Motive Pure.
Okay.
And so a little plug for them. They would always have these little, not vials, but like a little glass jar that you just we would drink that before we'd start drinking.
Oh.
And then have one, and it's just it just super hydrates you like Pedialyte.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
and I would wake up after we did the show. Like when I did the Christmas video, I woke up the next day and I've never had a worse hangover than that. And also my dog took a shit in my bed, like under the covers, because I didn't take him out. So I remember that. But then later on during the show, I just would drink these Motive Pure things and just, no pain, baby. No pain. It was
okay.
it was great. It was great.
Man.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So I don't know. Check that out. I've never ordered that stuff before, but that was what was on set at Drunk History. And if anybody knows,
it's those guys for sure. Awesome. Well, that ends it for rapid fire. Now we just have a couple good fan questions for you here. This first one comes from Spanx McGeeb. Do you have any favorite jokes or funny moments from your career that you can remember? or that stand
Oh,
out?
I mean, my goodness. Most of it's just embarrassing stuff because that's the stuff you remember is when you've just completely like ruined
Failed.
something or embarrassed yourself or
Yeah.
something. So, I mean, this falls into that category, but like, I guess, there was on You're the Worst, we had to do a lot more nudity than I realized when I signed on.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that it would have necessarily stopped me, but I'm not like, I'm not like a show off, like a beach, you know, volleyball guy or anything. So I, never got excited when I saw that my character was naked. But the wardrobe department, they would always supply you. You'd walk into your dressing room and you'd find a little what they call a cocksock,
Yeah.
sitting there. And I say little because it was like there's like a little bag that you put everything in, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is kind of weird, but well, this is how we do it. So I remember there being a episode where I'm supposed to be my character's wearing like a penis cage, and there's a moment where I have to like
Yes.
open my robe and in front of Heather, the Lindsay character, and I just remember thinking because I'm being cuckolded in that episode. She's having sex with another guy from me, and I just remember him walking in, and he's really fit, and you know, I remember noticing they gave him a much larger cock than they gave me. Like they didn't even ask me, and they were right. They were right to give
But
it.
they didn't
They
take
chose
measurements.
correctly, but there was no. I mean, why are we?
At least
They're
asking me,
they're
just the
assuming the hug
courtesy,
is.
you
Yeah, at
know.
least what difference does it make if mine's bigger? It's not like
Yeah.
it's gonna be falling off or anything because of how it's made. It's gonna stay on there. But
Respect the man and at least give him a
yeah,
medium,
give us, yeah, give me a little something more than that. Like, why did you have to be right with the size of cocksuck that you picked out? Anyway, yeah, I just remember wearing that, and then I have to, you don't see it. Can't remember where the camera was. I think it was right behind my butt, but I opened my my robe and my little sock is there, and I'm scared. There's 10 men in the room, the cameras pointed at me and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's whatever. It was just uncomfortable for a moment, and I just remember Heather bursting out laughing. It's like, oh great, this is just gonna be wonderful.
What a
Let me
day
do
at
this
work.
monologue now here that I got to do.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah, so
incredible.
just being laughed at, for
Yeah.
but it keeps you humble.
There you go. And then Stealth writes in, what writers, shows, comedians inspired you to start writing and shaped your sense of humor? Also, your mustache is everything right in this world. It is a nice
Oh,
looking mustache.
thank you. Thanks. This has been my big project this year. Is this mustache is really trying to cultivate some facial hair. But
Is that for the detective type shows you want to go for?
yeah, trying to
Yeah.
get one of these detective shows.
You got a Burt Reynolds vibe going, man. I dig it.
I'm trying, but oh gosh, what was the writer comedian that inspired me?
Oh yeah, here,
I
I'll put
mean,
it back up
gosh,
there.
I don't know. It's pretty standard. I mean, I was a big SNL fan. I was watching, like the Will Ferrell, Chris Farley years. That's why I was amazing at Funny or Die when I got to work with Will a little bit. And
Yeah.
he's such a cool dude and just like the nicest guy. It was so awesome to, kind of have that come full circle. I also remember, I mean, I was a big fan of Mr. Show.
Okay.
In college, we would just do, you know, at if we had the opportunity to do sketch comedy instead of like theater, we would just do Mr. Show sketches.
Nice.
We wouldn't claim they were ours or anything. We would just
Sure.
present it like you would a one act play,
Right.
we would do a few Mr. Show sketches. So yeah, so those, those, all those guys were big. I was big fans of, and I think really kind of shaped my my humor.
Nice. Well, nothing like ending on a really sad question. What's the role that got away? Is there any role that you really wanted but you weren't cast in?
Oh gosh. I mean, I want every role I'm going in for
Sure.
pretty much. So I mean, sure, there's been tons. There's been tons. Like, I mean, you audition for so much more than you actually book. I'm trying to think of a good example though. That was like, it could have been me. Um, there's nothing really that I'm like kicking myself like about necessarily. That
Okay.
was some like huge thing. Uh, gosh, um, I mean, it's just auditions that went bad that I beat myself up over, like, um, I remember Reno 911 back in the day. This was before they did the Quibi reboot or whatever, but they were coming through and holding auditions, and I just totally boned it. I had a couple ideas and I went with the one that was like crazier and like shocking, and it just was like everybody from the state was in the room, and it was just like,
Yeah.
and I was in the scene with Thomas Lennon and like he was improvising with me, and it was just the most embarrassing. I was just like, I still feel bad about it. This was like 12 years ago, probably. I don't know. And I still think about it from time to time, like, oh God, why did I do that? I don't even want to talk about what I did, but I mean, it wasn't like, you know, violent or something. It was
You
just
didn't
like
pull out
just
and
a
show them
bad
your
idea.
sock
It's
in
just
the
terrible. It's just an
audition.
embarrassing thing that I thought the shock value would be like appealing, but it wasn't. But anyway, yeah, no, I can't think of oh gosh. No, I'm sorry I don't have more of a specific like that guy got my part, but
I could have
I have,
been Tony Stark.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, damn that Chris Evans. No, I wish I had more specific one for you, but that's it.
If you can announce an award on the Oscars, who would you want to announce the award with? And I will make sure that is the last question for you. I know
Oh
you
yeah.
get to go
Oh, okay, right,
stream.
right. Yeah, I gotta jump because I gotta jump onto my stream.
Yeah. And we're going to plug
Um,
exactly where they can go watch that right after this. We'll send them over to
you
watch you
will?
and
Oh,
hang out.
okay, great, great. Uh, oh gosh, that's such a good question. Who would I want to announce it with? um, let's see. Zendaya. I
Oh,
mean, come
I mean,
on.
yeah.
She's the coolest.
She's so cool. I haven't watched the movie yet with her and
Or Tom Cruise. I think that would be hey, Tom Cruise. I'd love to run on the stage, next to him. That'd be great.
Oh, have
Yeah,
you met
yeah.
Tom
Oh,
Cruise?
yeah. No,
No.
I have not. I mean, that would be huge. That would be huge. I'm still a big Tom Cruise fan.
Fair.
That would be ridiculous.
Literally the only thing I know about Tom Cruise is we have a new hire at work. I mean, other than, his like filmography, obviously, but we made all of our new hires go around and say one thing that's like interesting about them. And he just said, I've had dinner with Tom Cruise and he is as weird as you think.
I
And
bet.
I was like, I'd be here for the weird though,
Oh yeah. Give me that. Give me
Yeah.
that.
Awesome. Allan, well, you were a great guest. If folks want to find you, where's the best place to follow you around on the internet and
Oh yeah, no, I'm
like your
on I'm
stuff?
on Twitter at Allan McLeod. I'm on Instagram, same handle. I'm on Twitch.
And it is just twitch.tv/Allan McLeod, right?
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. I'm about to go play some Horizon Zero Dawn right now.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Just a quick one. Just a quick one before I nip off to bed.
Yeah.
But
Well, thanks
nice
so much for
talking to you.
joining us, man. This was great. That's it, everybody. You know where to find me. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. This has been another episode, and we will see you next week. As always, I'm average, but you're awesome.